Hello?
Hello, Mr. Frank Roberts. I'm John, calling from Benson Law Group. You have an important...
Get a life.
This is so unusual, so original. I enjoyed this little story about Frank, the tile layer. The story is mostly told all by action, very little dialogue, and I like the green color cast as he sits in the park to eat his lunch. That was interesting. The moment where he's in the lawyer's office, there's some intensity, and the expressions on their faces is really good. I enjoyed that. There's another moment at the end, of course, where he breaks and shatters into hundreds of little pieces, and that's superbly done. So unexpected and quite realistic. If there's a message from this, I would think that it's about our lives being bits and pieces of people and events put together intrinsically, and that's what holds us together.
Very well done and interesting piece that obviously had a very interesting ending that most of the early parts of the piece were based around building up towards. I thought that really worked well, especially with the very grounded and realistic opening. And I thought the performances of the lead actor in particular really created a great setting that matched the sort of aesthetic and mood and the stylistic approach of having a very sort of realistic sci-fi feel that ended with a very sort of open-minded or more to say a very expansive and interesting ending regarding him like literally blowing up into a bunch of colors. And I thought the conceit with his mother, I believe, or him watching the video at the end really sort of contributes to sort of a latent suspense that really carries the film throughout the piece and really ends up making the ending work a lot stronger. I thought the soundtrack as well really did fit the mood, and it really created a good rhythm and pace for the piece that worked with both silence and worked with visual performances. So I thought it was a great piece, detail-oriented, clearly written with and created with a level of passion that came through.
At heart, MOSAIC is a comedy, despite its somber tone. But it sets us up really well, which I think is really clever. There's lots of little details, like having a caller ID that says "scam likely," which is just really funny, and pepper the film with little bits of humour that really lead you up to the final twist, the joke, essentially. But that doesn't mean that it's all light. There's a great sense of emotional weight to the protagonist making his little mosaic horse. We clearly understand that this has great sentimental value to him, which adds a lot of emotional sort of resonance to the film as a whole and to our engagement in it. And I also think what's really clever about it is how it unifies his job as like a bathroom tiler, the mosaic horse thing he's making, and the twist at the end, which basically says he's a mosaic. Like, there's a great thematic unity to the title and the image of the mosaic, which is really great and clever. And yeah, the final twist I think is genuinely funny. It's clever as well. The use of the homemade video by his parents is really clever, and is not at all what I was expecting. But again, like I say, the little comedic details are peppered in there very well to lead you to that twist, so that when it happens, it doesn't feel out of place. It feels perfectly well prepared. So it's very, very funny and unexpected and clever.
It's a unique, mind-blowing premise of time fallacies and the intricacies of time. This is set out in the future and gives us once more a lot to think about theories like butterfly effect or the dissonance between time and space and time travel, and just changing something, how it might impact the future, or in this case the fantasy of not being there anymore. It's just quite mind-blowing. I love this time theory fantasies. It was greatly done, and I loved the final special effect. It was brilliant.
part, this film really shows we don't ever know what a person will or will not be. It's that makes it a very powerful message that you never know what the future holds for each individual person. And it's a powerful way of showing that when you don't know, should you decide whether or not a person should or should not exist. I have to say it's certainly a shocking way for this guy to figure out he doesn't exist. Was he a figment of their imagination? Did he not exist at all? Is he a MOSAIC in and of himself? It's clear he was an artist. Or did this decision cause a dissolvement of a relationship? There's a lot of unanswered questions that this could do, but it was definitely a shocking ending that you did not expect. I will say they probably should have changed when they changed the phone number that says scam likely. Probably should have changed the bottom one that said home. But other than that, this film was quite shocking and impactful.
I thought it was just like such an interesting way to tell a story, because you really don't get the full scope of what's going on until the very end of the VHS tape, and so you don't really understand the whole rest of it until the end, and then you have like a almost retrospective understanding. And I don't know, I thought it was really interesting, and what an interesting concept to kind of have this last will and testament or letter or, whatever of this VHS that comes back however many years later. Obviously, like he's a full-grown adult, and how much that can really impact and change your life, like just learning something new, learning something different. So I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was really well done, because you really feel for the character, and you really are in that moment with him as he's, trying to figure this whole thing out and watching this video.
Start with the obvious. Wow, what an ending. And definitely one that I was not anticipating. For a piece that felt, really realistic and grounded. I was definitely a little surprised when our main character just sort of exploded into a bunch of little colored tiles. I thought it was a very smart touch to make, him a tiler by trade as well. And I think that really worked for the piece. I thought that it was a cool place where we ended up. I kept waiting for another shoe to drop, and I'm really glad that it finally did.
So I like the direction and the cinematography. I really like the color grading, that kind of greenish color grading. I would have liked to know more about Frank and basically why this happened. I mean, how is it possible his parents change their mind and then he disappears? There must be some connection, some time travel, some time machine somewhere. That could have been interesting to see, to know more, maybe to find a portal or something that Fred could have used to go back in time after watching the videotape. But overall, is an interesting premise, and it's a quite shocking ending. So, and the acting was pretty good as well. Very good acting and good audio.
Okay, the title page on this was really, really brilliantly done. I thought that it was incredibly well lit and well acted. All of the actors in this did such a fantastic job. The story was really cool.